Welcome, everyone, and thank you for coming to our session representing Matar, so Hamad International Airport and Doha International Airport, and the Qatar Slot Coordination. Ms. Zainab and Mr. Antonius will be presenting the second part. My name is Jan Metsovitis. I'm the SVP of Operations for both airports. And we wanted to present how we're getting ready for the upcoming championship, football championship, which is coming in November, December this year. It's a plan we've been working on now for a number of years. As far as I'm concerned, and probably the team now from today onwards, we're already into the execution of our plan. It's a challenging event we have to prepare for. Obviously, Qatar is not a huge country, but it's a big city. And we want to run a championship in one host city, which has definite advantages for the visitors and for the people who want to watch a lot of football. So if you're a football addict, please come to Qatar. I think it will be a fantastic opportunity to see many games in a very concentrated venue. Just to name a few, we have a distance of 50 kilometers, is the longest distance between two stadiums. That's the furthest distance we have, which I think is probably unique in the history of football. So without further ado, I would like to go into the first bit of our presentation, and then I will be handing over to Ms. Zainab and Mr. Antonios. This is probably the most critical element of our planning, which is really what is coming at us. As you know, the football matches will start on the 21st of November and finish on the 18th of December. It's a very compressed tournament over 28 days. 48 matches need to happen in 12 days, and the knockout stage lasts another 16 days. For 42 national teams. This is a very big challenge for any organizing entity, but for us it's even more of a challenge, of course, because it happens in the city of Doha. We have worked with our organizing committee. The technical name is the Supreme Committee of Delivery and Legacy, but for all intents and purposes today I will be calling it the Organizing Committee. So we have worked with them over a number of years to determine what will be the demand characteristics of this championship. The latest version we have in our hand, and this is the final version, is forecasting 1.8 million visitors, all included. So that includes the fans, that includes the workforce, anyone that will want to come to watch the matches. This is what we think are the biggest challenges we have to face during the championship. There will be a peak day of approximately 90,000 passengers for arrivals. Then as the group stage finishes and we go into the knockout stage, there's a high peak of about 100,000 passengers coming in and leaving Doha, and then another one at the end right after the final, which will be another 90,000 passengers. Allow me to be rounding up the numbers, which are always easier for someone like me to remember. This is on top of the normal traffic we do handle on a normal business day. Pre-COVID, that would have been approximately 120,000 passengers per day. So as I mentioned, we're looking at 1.8 million visitors. The biggest source markets are, of course, Europe, parts of the Middle East, North America, and of course a very heavy volume from our neighboring countries. GCC is the name for the Gulf Cooperation Council. So basically the countries in the close proximity of Qatar. We have mobilized two airports. The one everybody knows, which is Hamad International Airport, DOH, which opened in 2014 and has been the home airport of Qatar Airways and all operators coming into Qatar for the past 8 years. We have been working on increasing and leveling up and boosting the capacity available for the championship through various means and ways. But what we looking at ensuring is maintaining a high level of service for all the passengers coming into Doha and HIA, and therefore we are foreseeing things like a passenger overflow area, a special events terminal that will be specifically dedicated to handling the national teams coming into the country to participate in the championship. We have finished our multimodal transport connectivity hub. There is a metro now operating into and out of the airport. We are putting back into operation a general aviation terminal, which has been dormant for the past few years. And all of this will be coordinated and managed through an event management center. So for us, normal operations we can handle. It's a big hub. We can do about 40 million passengers per year. It's not a small operation, but when you want to increase and boost the number of people coming into and out of the airport with all the special requirements that we have to face, we need to have a way to be managing that overlay. For this, we established the so-called Event Management Center. There is a big expansion program that we have been working on for the past now 2.5 years. So a very, very challenging and accelerated program in order to further expand the existing facilities. You are seeing now a short description or a short visual of what this expansion will be like. It's a central concourse that further increases the capacity of the existing passenger terminal complex. We are adding additional apron capacity, 34 wide-body positions. We are increasing fuel capacity, not only, of course, for the championship, but also for the growth of the home carrier. We are increasing the baggage handling system capacity, both for transfers, but also for origin and destination into and out of Qatar. We are increasing our airside airport hotel capacity. All of this program is now in full swing and will be ready in phases by element. I am presenting here by the 30th of September. For us, therefore, for the next 5 months, what we're looking at is basically finishing the works, and we are well advanced, going into an operational readiness program, which will start on the 1st of October this year, run it for 5 weeks, and then be ready for the championship. So a very compressed schedule we're working on. I have to say this has taken place also with the background of the COVID crisis, which put a lot of complexity into getting the labor force to continue to work, protecting our laborers, making sure that they stay healthy and that they can continue our project management. That has been very challenging. And now, of course, we're going into the challenge of finishing off all the details, because big facilities like those are expected to be showing some surprises during a complex project. There was an old airport. I guess many of you have had the opportunity to travel through it, and it is called Doha International Airport. So that old facility, if I'm allowed to say so, is not so old, but that was the previous facility we were operating at. It was mothballed for a few years, and last year we went through a whole refurbishment program of the existing facilities to not only go in and do some painting and some cleaning. We went from the ground up. We have fully reinstated everything we thought needed to be reinstated in order to be able to use the facility for the championship. So you're seeing some photos here. The facility was partially tested in the last few months. It is fully ready. It is fully functional, and it will be fully available officially starting on the 30th of October this year for the championship. Flights do operate. It is also a co-located military base, but the terminal facilities are the ones that we will be opening up for the championship. So we went through a full refurbishment program. We have allocated apron for commercial operations. We have a general aviation terminal, which is regularly used. We installed a new baggage handling system, both for arrivals and departures. And we are now working on finishing off the connectivity to public transport, working together with our public transport authorities in Doha. So, the two airports are very closely located. We have decided for the championship that we will be managing this as two airports, but one system. And we will be available maybe after the session to take any questions on how this can be done. For you, I guess the best way to remember is really it's one system, two airports, as they are very closely located to each other. So, for HIA, we have a total capacity of 66 movements per hour. We are having a capacity of 12,000 passengers per hour for transfer passengers, 3,700 for arrivals, 4,200 for departures. For the DIA, so the refurbished facility, the new facility, at the old airport, we're talking about 10 movements per hour and 2,000 passengers per hour per direction. No transfer capability, as this is not what we want to be using capacity for during the championship, as the facility is there only to support the championship period. With those additional capacities we believe we will be able to handle the peak demands. Actually, the peak demand drove the planning and the execution and the projects we needed to finish for the championship, including the refurbishment of the old facility. If I can take any questions, maybe now, a few questions before I hand over to the slot coordination team. Otherwise, yeah, there's one hand. Please. No, these are exactly as they were before COVID. So the numbers have stayed the same. We got those numbers from the organizing committee. The organizing committee went, I think, to all the championship since probably South Africa. And they checked what was the demand in various cities, what would happen if we run a compressed schedule over the 28 days, because that's a big change to the plan itself, and also how many teams are participating in the championship itself as well. So those numbers drove the forecast we got from the organizing committee, and together with the organizing committee we came to the conclusion that those were the peak demand days we were needing to plan for. Thank you very much. Sure. Please.
Yes, the old runway, capacity of 10 movements per hour.
Yes.
Thanks. Hi. The old runway, the capacity is 10 movements per hour. Is that shared with the new runway, the new airport runway, Doha?
No, it's independent capacity. So it's 66 at the new facility and 10 at the old facility independently.
Okay.
So the two airports, I probably don't have the time to go into the details, but the two airports are considered as independent.
Okay. Because 10 is kind of very low per hour, 10 movements per hour.
Correct, but we have gone working with our Civil Aviation Authority,
okay,
who are the air traffic controllers in Qatar. We have been working on a big project to expand the total airspace capacity for Doha. This number we have here is taking into account all the limitations of the airspace that we have, including what happens with the neighboring countries, other operations that I'm not in full liberty to present. In any case, the airspace capacity we are announcing here is a number we feel we can deliver for many days during peak operations.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. If there is no other question, maybe I can ask the slot coordination team to present. Ready?
Yeah, sure.
Please, go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Antonios Houzoudis. I'm the head of Qatar Slot Coordination. me and Mrs. Ainab will take you through the process and the details of applying for the tournament during the level 3 period. So this is the timelines. This is a very interesting graph showing what we're currently doing and when we will start accepting requests for the period of the World Cup. Since the initial stage of handling the requests for the winter season, we only work on the flights on the services with historic precedents, any changes to them, and nothing else than that. So any additional frequencies by operators that currently operate to Doha, any new entrants or any requests for flights intending to operate during the period of the World Cup only are not handled at this stage and will be handled right after the series handback deadline. How does this work? We have defined both airports as level 3 airports, both Doha and DIA. From day 1 of the winter period, that means from October 30th up to 25th of December, which is 1 week after the final game of the World Cup. This will be our level 3 period. After that, both airports will return to their previous status, which is level 2 for Doha and level 1 for DIA, which is not coordinated airport. So currently, the requests we're receiving and refer to the complete winter season, but don't hold any historic precedents. We are handling the bid for the level 2 period for DOH, means whatever operates between the 26th of December and the end of the winter season. And we're asking operators to reapply again right after the series handback date for the period we have defined as level 3. There is a set of local rules that has been published since last year, and it was the outcome of workshops that the Coordination Committee did with all the respective stakeholders and define what is the framework for operations within this period. Mrs. Ainab will take you through the details. I just refer to the headlines here. There will be a slot booking deposit process that will apply per slot. There will be a ground handling confirmation that the operators will have to get from the ground handling agent, and this will incorporate also representation requirements for the operators. There will be slot monitoring that will be done by the coordination team and will be shared on a daily basis with the slot monitoring committee, which consists out of members of the slot coordination committee, of course. And there will be some penalties for slot violations and slot misuse that have been already published along with the local rules. What triggers a penalty? I will go very quickly through this. Is a slot cancellation on the day of operation. So operators that will get slots for the period of the World Cup can cancel their slots up to 1 day prior to the day of operation. Cancellation on the day of operation or a no-show or a go-show, which will be difficult actually to see a go-show after all these restrictions, will be penalized. Slot misuse means significant variation of operation compared to the approved slot. Of course, there will be some excuses to this, and these excuses will have to do with reasons that are not subject to the operator's will and decision. For example, weather or industrial action or all these kind of things. And there will be operations with an aircraft type different than the one in the approved slot, and obviously this applies to an aircraft type of a bigger size, because one of our bottlenecks in the capacity is the apron, and we have to be very, very precise on what we are handling and approving. That was all from me. I will pass to my colleague to take you through the process step by step. Closing. I would like to mention that we can accept questions at the end of the presentation, and that whatever we share with you now, you can find at the Qatar Slot Coordination website. So the whole set of local rules and the document with the process are already available. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for your time and attending our presentation. We are taking you through the slot approval process during FIFA World Cup 2022. As you can see in this page, it is the entire process, the summary of what is the process and the steps. And in the next pages, we're gonna explain one by one, and we will go through all the steps that we have and the operator has to apply them. If you see in these pages, it's mentioned that all operator has to first acquire the slot booking deposit, and number two, they have to acquire for ground handling confirmation number from ground handling agent, and the third step is to apply for Qatar Slot request for the slot request, and the last step is to get the landing permit from QCAA or Qatar Civil Aviation Authority team. We'll take you step by step and a brief for each department or each step. Number one is a slot booking deposit, which operator has to fill application, which is called a slot booking deposit application, and it's already in the Qatar Slot website. They can find there, and they can fill that form and can send through email to finance team, which is at Hamad International Airport or Matar. And the deposit is $5,000 for per aircraft rotation, which is arrival and departure, and this 5,000 will be per flight. So, and this the deposit and this amount will be deducted from the airport charges. So first step, it has to provide a slot booking deposit, and the next step is to provide ground handling confirmation number from handling agent. So operator has to provide all the information, all the details for the aircraft or for the flight, and has to apply through that department, and also has to have the number for the slot booking deposit. So it has to be along with that one, okay? And after providing or getting the confirmation from the ground handling agent, it is the time that they can proceed with the slot request. So number one, a slot booking deposit. Number two, ground handling confirmation number. And the third steps is to provide the request through a slot. All GCR and all SCR requests should be in the correct format according to the SSIM Chapter 6, and it should be in a format of quick turnaround due to the capacity that we have in both HIA and DIA, all their parts. So the request will be not handled or action without these two numbers, these two confirmation number, which is from the previous steps, which is from the finance and from the handling agent. So after providing all this information, slot coordination team can proceed with the request. And at the end, it will be provided a slot ID, a number from a slot coordination team to the operator, and this number has to be along with the request whenever the operator has to apply for the flight plan. But this is the next step after they are going to the QCAA for the landing permit. So number one, as we mentioned, the deposit and ground handling confirmation number, and then proceed with the slot confirmation. And then they have to send all the requests to Qatar Civil Aviation Authority for the landing permit, which all the information already mentioned in the web page. You can check the web page, all the information, local rules, and even any more information that you want to know regarding the flight clearance requirement. It is already in the EIP, and you can visit that one. And the last one, which we mentioned before regarding the slot ID, it has to, which I mentioned already, it has to be along with the slot confirmation, and it has to go for the flight plan. So this is all the process that is required for the FIFA World Cup 2022. And as Mr. Antonius already mentioned, that of course there will be slot monitoring and the penalty and all these things, which be checked every day, and we have to go every day through that one. I hope that I clear that part, and if you think there is any confusion or it was not understandable, you can ask me or ask our team. And thank you very much. Thank you.
So please, any questions?
Two questions. The first one is, okay. The first one is, if we apply for a slot for Doha, will we get a, if there's nothing available, will we get an offer for DIA, or should we apply for both separately?
Sure. We didn't mention this in the presentation. The scheduled services and the airlines that already operate at DOH will continue operating there, obviously, because there is always the transfer product that will be active, will not stop to be a transfer airport during the World Cup. And the general aviation and business aviation traffic will mostly be accommodated at DIA. The plan is to accommodate also charter operations at DIA, but in order to fine-tune the demand and provide to everybody slots closer or exactly on the times that they want to operate, we are going to follow what you said. So if an operator asks for a slot at DOH and the slot is not available and the best offer is hours away, obviously we will provide an offer for the DIA as well that will be on the time requested or very close to this.
Okay, thank you. My second question is, can we already apply for the financial part and the ground handling part before the 15th of August?
This is correct, and this is our suggestion, that we expect, first of all, we will receive a very high load of requests exactly after the series return deadline. So operators should have been already through the initial 2 steps, completed them, and be ready to apply for this. We know that Matar finance team and Mr. Metsovitis can confirm this, can already start accepting requests and provide deposit confirmation numbers. And we know that the handling agent is already working on this and shortly will start to provide also the ground handling confirmation numbers.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question concerning the ground time. You said that we should apply with the quick turnaround format. How quick should the turnaround be? Or what is the maximum ground time that is allowed, especially when thinking about overnight services?
Maximum turnaround times have been already published in the local rules. Will be 60 minutes for the narrow body aircraft and 90 minutes for the wide body aircraft. And might be some exceptions for cargo flights because they need more time for the turnaround and the handling. Overnights and lock stages will not be approved because of the limited apron capacity. So the expectation is that for both airports, aprons will be completely utilized throughout the day. So we don't have the facility or the areas at either airport to accommodate long stays.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Antonio and Zainab and Qatar's team, a wonderful presentation you've done. I have a question. We don't understand why the scheduled flights have not been, why you're not considering the slots for that. There may be various extra sections, various charters, yes, understood. But at least the charter, at least the scheduled operation should be allowed, as a season. And over and above that, you have the procedure, whatever. But for scheduled operation, you should not have any procedure like this. Thank you.
Let me answer the question. First of all, that's what the coordination committee worked on and agreed on. And scheduled services with historic presidents during winter 21, they already got their slots and they have the capacity already to proceed with any changes they want to apply for these approved slots. Whatever comes in without an historic precedence, or whatever is a new frequency or a new entrant, either as an airline or a destination or a new destination, is handled, as I mentioned earlier, for the period after the 25th of December. Whatever falls within the level 3 period goes straight to the series handback line, regardless if it is a scheduled service or a charter operation.
Okay. Regarding the charges that you mentioned, we have to pay $5,000 per flight. If we paid this amount and then the SCR message was rejected, how will you manage it? And the second issue is the current flights that were already operated in this period, is it also chargeable or not?
First of all, there will be no request that will be rejected. All requests will be handled and all will get confirmation or an offer that if doesn't fit with the rest of the plan of the operator is a different thing. Secondly, it's not a charge, it's a deposit. So it's an amount that at the end of the day, post-operation is deducted from the airport bill, from the airport charges. And to answer the last bit of your question, this applies to all services that we're not handling at this stage. So if you have already your historics and your approved slots for the winter period, for the level 3 period, for these flights, you don't have to go through the process. If you add a new frequency or ad hoc operations for this period, yes, these services will have to follow the process we described. Thank you.
Hi. Given you've stated that apron capacity is the limiting factor, and obviously long stays aren't going to be permitted, you're then going to have lots of drop and goes. So any information on alternative airfields for parking long term?
Not in Qatar, as we have only these two airports. I guess operators would prefer, maybe without knowing, to fly out to any of the neighboring countries for a long stay and then return back to Doha to pick up passengers. But I understand this will apply mostly to charter services that will bring in fans to attend a game, and they have to pick up the same fans after the game ends, if I understand the question correctly.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so in such case, there will be airfields in the neighborhood, in the neighboring countries that could accept these long stays.
Good afternoon. If I'm not wrong, the date of the commencement of this process is 15th of August. Am I correct?
Correct, that's correct.
So just my another apparent question. In order to ensure a level playing field to all the airlines that are present in this hall, is it not advisable that it should be advanced so that all the airlines can get the slots and can open their flights to all the fans and to all the 1.8 million passengers and those who are willing to influx into the Qatar?
1.8 million passengers are not expected to come on additional flights. Obviously, a very, very high amount will be accommodated on the existing network of Qatar Airways, obviously, which is the main carrier, and of the other airlines that already operate. And as I said, there are other airlines that got already their historic slots. So we expect that the network, the standard network and the business as usual will absorb a very, very high number of these 1.8 million visitors.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello. Just a question. If is it possible to receive a copy of the presentation because it's very well done and very useful? And in second, if it's possible eventually to justify delays more than the range allowed?
For the presentation, you can get a copy. We will upload it shortly to the Qatar Slot Coordination website, and you can download the copy from there. About the variation in operation from the approved slot, it's already in the local rules. It's a variation of 20 minutes on arrival for the flights operating for 4 hours or less, and 35 minutes variation of the approved slot for the flights operating distances 5 hours or more.
Can I ask you about the submission date? It is said that it is 15 August. The flights are loaded in the system now with a capacity that we don't know exactly if the slot will be there or not at that time. Do you think that 15 August, even after the handback, will make a change? And is it okay to make it earlier than that? Because the flights are in the system and we are afraid to have it fully booked and end up with a problem, actually, to accommodate.
First of all, to make it clear, it's not on the 15th. So when we say we start accepting requests after the series handback deadline, for us it means 0001 on the 16th of August, Qatar local time. So requests applied on the 15th will not be accepted, just to make it clear. Secondly, this is a question we have received from many operators. The reason we are putting this deadline is, first of all, because we have a much better clarity on the slot pool, on the available slots. And secondly, because we believe that from the side of the operators, it will be a much more mature time point to know what is the demand and what they can apply. We know that some operators have already published schedules without getting the slots. Some others are more conservative and wait to get the slots to publish the flights. As I said, all the requests will get a slot, will get either a confirmation as requested or an offer. Other than that, it's a decision of each operator individually if they are going now public with the flights or wait to publish them later. We cannot advise on that. So, no more questions, I understand? No, there's one more.
How would the priorities for ad hoc slot allocations would look like?
The priorities will be very simple. It's first come, first serve. There's a provision only for the flights that will operate for the national teams, and this applies mostly on the departures because they will arrive in the country well before the kick-off games. So we don't expect a very high demand 1 or 2 weeks before the 21st. And for their departures, the only priority we give is that these requests will be handled maybe before some other requests. But we are talking about very few flights, and the priority doesn't mean they will get the slots they want, means they might be handled in priority. Other than that, for all other requests, it will be as in the sequence they're coming in.
Hello, team. Just wanted to know, will there be any penalty if there's any violation, slot violation or cancellation in case of an AOG or something like that?
If it is beyond the will of the operator, there won't be any penalties. Cancellation on the day of operation for other reasons will be penalized, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you all. Any questions that might come up in the future, we're always at your disposal to answer. Thank you.